PM Pakistan Standard Time. Assalamu alaikum. This is Radio Pakistan. The news read by Sumaira Kamal. The headlines first. Prime Minister rejecting fears of country's default, says a coalition government kept national interest above the political interests and saved the country from default. In his interaction with OIC Secretary General, Shehbaz Sharif has reiterated Pakistan's unflinching support to the people of Indian illegally occupied Jammu and Kashmir and Palestine. International Kashmir Congress, in its unanimous declaration at Ankara, says India is aggressively pursuing a fascist agenda in occupied Kashmir and perpetrating crimes against humanity. President strongly condemning unprovoked firing by Afghan border forces targeting civilians in Chaman, emphasized the need to prevent recurrence of such incidents in future. Minister for Information Technology says the government is taking steps to digitally empower women as they play a pivotal role in country's progress. A United Nations report says over 11,000 children have been killed in Yemen's civil war. England beat Pakistan by 26 runs in the second cricket test of three-match series in Multan today, winning the series by 2-0. And now the news in detail. Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif says the PMLN-led coalition has kept national interest above political interest and saved the country from default. Addressing a news conference in Islamabad today, he said, "We tried to give subsidy to poor people and 1800 billion rupee Kisan package is an example of that." He added further that the government is strenuously working to rehabilitate the flood-affected people, which is a big challenge. He rejected any threats of country's default. Prime Minister said UK newspaper Daily Mail's unconditional apology is a success of Pakistani people, especially those poor children and mothers who were benefiting from the aid money that was targeted. He further said it was such a heartless campaign initiated by PTI that they did not bother to think even about dignity of the country in their malice of defaming the Sharif family. The Prime Minister said this malicious campaign also damaged Pakistan as mistrust was created regarding any funding to our country. Shehbaz Sharif said PTI's 4 years tenure was a period of political victimization. OIC Secretary General Hussain Brahim Taha has reiterated OIC's full support for the resolution of a Jammu and Kashmir dispute in accordance with the relevant UN Security Council resolutions and aspirations of Kashmiri people. He was talking to Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif in Islamabad today during his visit to Pakistan, which is his first country visit since he assumed office in November last year. He also condoled over the loss of life and livelihoods caused by the recent climate-induced floods in Pakistan. Speaking on the occasion, Prime Minister Mohammad Shehbaz Sharif renewed Pakistan's unflinching support to the people of Indian illegally occupied Jammu and Kashmir and Palestine. While highlighting the grim human rights situations in Indian illegally occupied Jammu and Kashmir, the Prime Minister appreciated OIC's principled position and consistent support for the resolution of Jammu and Kashmir dispute. Welcoming the Secretary General's historic visit to Azad Jammu and Kashmir and line of control, the Prime Minister underscored that his visit would send a strong message of support from OIC to the Kashmiri people in their just struggle for the right of self-determination. A declaration issued at the end of the three-day International Kashmir Congress in Ankara, Turkey, has rejected Indian aggression, illegal occupation, coercion, and continued denial of the sacred right to self-determination to the Kashmiri people in occupied Jammu and Kashmir. The event was organized by the Legal Forum for Kashmir in collaboration with Center for Economic and Social Research. The declaration maintained that India has flagrantly violated international law, norms, conventions, and treaties to colonize and annex Jammu and Kashmir. It added further that the Indian state is aggressively pursuing a fascist agenda in occupied Kashmir and is perpetrating war crimes with total impunity and zero accountability. The declaration urged the international community finally to act in accordance with the principle of injustice anywhere is threat to injustice, justice everywhere. The Ankara Declaration was unanimously signed and adopted by all participants of the International Kashmir Congress. President Dr. Arif Alvi has strongly condemned the unprovoked firing by Afghan border forces targeting the civilian population in Chaman. In a statement, he emphasized the need for preventing the recurrence of such incidents in the future. President hoped that the Afghan government would take strict action against those involved in the incident. He further said the protection of the civilian population living on the both sides of the border was the responsibility of both countries. The president further expressed condolences over the loss of lives and prayed for early recovery of those injured and sympathized with the victims' families. Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif has also strongly condemned the unprovoked shelling and firing by Afghan border forces at Chaman, Balochistan, resulting in martyrdom of several Pakistani citizens. In a tweet, the Prime Minister said the Afghan interim government should ensure that such incidents are not repeated. This is Radio Pakistan. Minister for Information and Technology and Telecom Syed Aminul Haq says women play a pivotal role in country's progress. Addressing a function in Islamabad today, he said the government is taking steps to digitally empower the women of the country as per the vision of Prime Minister. He said manufacturing of smartphones in Pakistan is the need of the hour and the government has initiated a project Smartphones for All to cope with the demand of the IT industry. The Senate today passed the Foreign Investment Promotion and Protection Bill 2022. It was moved by Law Minister Azam Nazir Tarar. Earlier, the Senate passed a resolution expressing deep grief and sorrow over the death of former Senator Begum Najma Hamid. Later, newly elected Senator Syed Waqar Mehdi of PPP took the oath of office. Chairman Senator Sadiq Sanjarani administered the oath. The House has now been adjourned to meet again on Thursday at 3 p.m. Parliamentary delegation led by Chairman of the Kazakhstan's Majlis of the Parliament Yerlin Kashnov visited Parliament House in Islamabad today. Speaker National Assembly Raja Pervez Ashraf and Deputy Speaker National Assembly Zahid Akram Durrani welcomed the delegation. On the occasion, Yerlin Kashnov have also planted a sapling in the lawn of the Parliament. The United Nations says over 11,000 children have been killed in Yemen's civil war since it escalated nearly 8 years ago. UNICEF's Executive Director Catherine Russell said thousands of children have lost their lives while hundreds of thousands of more remain at risk of death from preventable diseases or starvation. The UN agency said about 2.2 million Yemeni children are acutely malnourished, 1/4 of them aged under 5, and most are at extreme risk from cholera, measles, and other vaccine-preventable diseases. She further said the urgent renewal of the truce would be a positive first step that would allow critical humanitarian access. UNICEF has appealed for $484.4 million in funding to tackle the humanitarian crisis. In the occupied West Bank, a Palestinian girl was martyred by Israeli occupational forces during an army operation in the city of Jenin today. According to official Palestinian news agency, Jana Zakaran was shot in the head and later pronounced dead. Her body was found on the roof of their house after the Israeli troops withdrew from Jenin. Meanwhile, the Israeli military have arrested a dozen Palestinians in overnight raids in the West Bank. England beat Pakistan by 26 runs in the second cricket test of three-match series in Bulletin today, winning the series by 2-0. The final scores, England 281 and 275, Pakistan 202 and 328. Harry Brook declared man of the match for his 108 runs in the second innings. The third test will be played from Saturday in Karachi. And finally, the weather. Mainly cold and dry weather is likely to prevail in most parts of the country during the next 12 hours. However, rain and thunder with snow over the hills is expected in isolated places in Upper Khyber Pakhtunkhwa and Gilgit-Baltistan. Foggy conditions are likely to prevail over plain areas of Punjab and Upper Sindh during morning hours. To end the news, here are some of the headlines once again. Prime Minister rejecting fears of country's default, says coalition government kept national interest above the political interests and saved the country from default. In his interaction with OIC Secretary General, Shehbaz Sharif has reiterated Pakistan's unflinching support to the people of Indian illegally occupied Jammu and Kashmir and Palestine. International Kashmir Congress, in its unanimous declaration at Ankara, says India is aggressively pursuing a fascist agenda in occupied Kashmir and perpetrating crimes against humanity. And that is the end of the news. For more news and analyses, log on to our website radio.gov.pk and also watch live streaming of our bulletins on the link facebook.com/radio Pakistan News Official.